Ke a leboha, Modulasetulo. Minister, let's first start with your opening remarks. You said, where mistakes have been made, they must be corrected. What mistakes are you referring to?
I'm not referring to any particular mistake.
So you just said, nje, generally, if there are
Well, I
mistakes,
mean,
they must be
that's
corrected.
just one line of, I think, 1,000 words.
What did you mean, sir?
Well, should I go through the entire speech? The point is,
Oh.
I think that
Chair,
the
order. Let
point
me call
is,
the minister to order first. Akulwans. So this conversation can go south very easily.
yeah, but I'm
I'm
also
not
trying
trying,
to
it would
respond
like
to your
so
question.
that. This is my time.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to get to the bottom of your presentation so that I have a full understanding of what you mean. I'm not asking you to reread the first thing, the whole thing. So let's try again without being cheeky. Just generally, I'm trying to understand you. When you, as minister, said that, with everything that you said, where there have been mistakes that have been committed, they must be corrected. What did you mean?
Okay. So I started by saying that this meeting is taking place in a particular context. And given that context, and in doing what we are expected to do, we not doing our work as perfect and as angels. And the overarching statement was that in the process of executing and within the context of how this meeting is taking place and with all the issues that I've raised that the NSFAS is faced with, that we've done our best in the last 3 months in stabilizing the institution, and that we prepare to account, and that if there are any mistakes that have been done, they'll have to be attended to.
All
So
right,
it's not in relation
I
to
think
any
that,
specific
that
thing.
was enough for me. Again, you've just said now, the work you're doing is not perfect. What's not perfect?
Well, I mean, the fact that we still have challenges outstanding. We still have, I think you'll see in the report, and I said a bit about it, we've got a couple of hundreds of students whose appeals are still outstanding. We have challenges with regards to the loan scheme. We have, a shortfall. We still have ICT and data issues that needs to be attended to. All of those issues are part of what has been presented as elements of a stabilization. And those, I think, speak to the fact that, we're not running a perfect ship, but we're also not, going to be involved in the restructuring, rebuilding, and redesigning of the NSFAS, without all of these challenges being put on our doorstep.
I hear you. Do you think two things? One, so your administrator that you appointed, that I told you was not the right fit, but you still conceded that he's the right fit. Do you still maintain today before Parliament that two decisions that he took with your concurrence were the right decisions? The first decision was one. So this financial year alone, there's 200 million rands. This financial year alone, 200 million rands that has been set aside for consultants alone. In addition to that, you have 35 million rands that has been now increased from the initial budget.
Say that again, sorry?
A 35 million rand increase for just the compensation and the daily running of his office. All that, with all the problems you've just indicated right now, where there's still student accommodation that has not been paid, where there's students who've had to leave altogether the system without clarity, where don't know the accreditation of student accommodation is still left behind, where you have allowances that are still left behind, all of those other things. Do you think those decisions make sense?
Firstly, yes, you disagreed with the with Prof. Matebula being appointed as the administrator. I do not expect that in the short period that he's been there, you would believe otherwise. I was also not expecting that he will get into the NSFAS and, you know, have a magic wand and all the issues disappear. I'm quite confident with the work that the administrator at the NSFAS has done.
Okay, let me pause you there. Excuse Minister. What has he done that you're satisfied with?
I
In the
think he'll
next
give.
I get he reports to you, and you are saying you are satisfied. So, as the minister, what are you satisfied with in these 3 months that he has done?
The most important thing, I think, for us is that the administrator was required to present a stabilization plan, which is now in place. Secondly, was required to deal with challenges relating to the closeout. Thirdly, which
Where
has
is
now
it?
been fully reconciled, and I think you'll get the report to that. To deal with issues around the appeals, those issues, I think you'll get the report. There are issues around the issues that has been raised by the AG, but also systems within the NSFAS. Issues around audit and risk, the operation of committees, and so on and so forth. But importantly, I think ensuring that we, you know, get students' allowances paid on time. There was the big challenge which affected the second semester students, which we worked around the clock to ensure that it's resolved. There's been various hotspots that has been
That's
there,
fine, Minister.
which-
I wasn't asking you what's still lacking behind. I wanted you to tell me what you have confidence in, which is fine. But there's still a question that's still standing behind about, do you, with absolute full, clear conscience, agree that the decision to have a 200 million rands dedication towards consultation alone for this financial year, in addition to what was already approved, and a 35 million rands increase to the compensation of the running, whether that makes sense to you? Notwithstanding
the
all the
NSFAS
challenges that exist.
The NSFAS operates on a budget of its operational costs are under 300 million.
How are gape potso ya ka Ntate
No,
Manamela?
no, that's a response to your question.
No,
So
you're
if the
not.
NSFAS operation costs are under 300
That,
million,
you're not answering my question. My question is, there's been he knows it. I don't understand what he reports to you that you don't understand. It's simple. You have had an additional costs that have been attached to consultation alone. That has been an increase. In addition to consultation alone, you have had an increase of millions of rands to the operation of his office alone. I've given you those numbers. Those number increases, are you saying you are satisfied with those increases? It's either yes or a no.
no, but the point is that it would be unreasonable to suggest that of the under 300 million operational costs of the NSFAS, you have 200 million dedicated for consultants.
No.
And
that
all
is-
those
that,
other
that
referred to
cuts
figures.
across the span.
But in the overall, as I said,
So
that
your answer
we
is
are
no,
confident.
Minister.
I'm confident with
Now,
the
what
work
if you
that
deal,
the
Minister?
if I can respond
No,
to your
but my
question.
time is already finished. That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. You're making this conversation difficult in the sense that you're refusing to just say yes or no. It's either you are satisfied with the financial restructuring of the budget of the administrator or you're not.
No, but that's not the issue. The issue is that with the term
But that
that
is
the
my question.
administrator
Your
has
issue
been
could be
in
separate
office,
to my
I'm just saying
question.
that the question that you're asking me is
No.
not is not
I
is
am
not
going-
relative to what the
No,
reality
no.
of the NSFAS budget
Minister.
is.
You have 4 advisors, I get, that you approved Ndate Matebula's appointments of. Those 4 advisors are currently going to have a 9.9 million rands combined per year, bargaining, per year cost. Yes, that is the package, which is about 2.5 million rands each altogether. But then, in addition to those 4 advisors, you have also a split for the medium term that is there available of one that is a 35 million rands increase in the compensation budget for his office and his budget. That stays as that, right? And in addition to that, it's spent on consultants, and you have that money available. And Ntate Mathebula o nshebile jwalo ka ekare ke tsotsi kapa ke nna tsotsi. I don't know why Ntate Mathebula o nshebile ka tsela a nshebileng ka yona. But the problem I'm trying to highlight to you here is very simple. It's either you are happy with the financial reconstruction of the administrator that you appointed, or you are not happy. It's as simple as that. Yes, I am happy. Yes, I am not happy.
Okay.
That's all I'm asking from you.
Can close the mic. Answer, Minister.
Okay. I'm confident with the work that the administrator have done so far. And based on the stabilization report, which we'll obviously give our full response to, we're also quite confident that it's moving in the right direction. There are obviously issues which we've already initially raised with them, which will formalize. If there are issues that relates to, and I must emphasize this, being under administration does not mean that it absolves the administrator or anyone who's part of the team or anyone at NSFAS from scrutiny, either from myself, from the department, members of parliament, or the public. And I must emphasize that any form of scrutiny we will take seriously if there are issues that requires for further probing, including the point that the honourable member is raising, the cost of consultants and so on and so forth. We will obviously take those issues seriously. What I must also indicate, Chairperson, is that we need to make a distinction between running the NSFAS as an entity and the cost of governance associated with it. We drew up the numbers for the previous board, for instance, incomparable to what has been suggested in terms of what the cost of the administration will be. Similarly, the numbers in comparison to the previous administrators, incomparable. And I'm not suggesting that that should be room for us to give the administrator a license for extravagance, but it also means that we're exercising prudence because we understand that each and every cent that comes out of the NSFAS ultimately has to add value to the students. And similarly, the quality of the people that are being appointed, it has to also follow, that particular logic. Thank you.
What are you?
Chair, I'm trying my utmost best to be as polite as possible to the minister. My question is very direct, and he's not answering it. And I can almost maybe understand why he doesn't want to answer it, because whether he says yes or no, he's in trouble. But he must answer, honestly. Are you, Minister Manamela, happy with the financial reconstruction of the cost of the daily running of the administrator's office, that increase of 35 million rands that is essentially going to become the daily life, which is an increase that didn't exist before? Yeah, and two, are you happy that by the time life is over for the administration, NSFAS would have racked up a 200 million rands worth of consultation fees? Are you happy with that budget construction? Yeah. Yes or no?
Thank you. Thank you, Nalokakau. I think the minister responded early that the operation budget of NSFAS is around 300 million. And I'm telling you what he said in this meeting when he was responding to you. And he said he's disputing the 200 million because it doesn't make sense. That's what he said. So you may not agree with him, but that is what he has responded in saying. He said the operating budget is around 300 million, and therefore it does not make sense to say that there's a 200 million of consultants. That's what he had responded. And to the first question, he did respond. He said, yes, I'm happy with the administration and you asked what is it that he's happy about on what he has done, and he responded in this meeting and he said, based on the, what do you call that report? The stabilization report. He's basing that on that particular report. Report, Honorable Lonzi.
So but follow up a specific, Chair, to the chronology of the appointment process, right? Make it make sense. You decide, I like Matebula is my person, I want to send him to NSFAS. After you decide you agree with Matebula. And then you, in doing so, you gazette without having a conversation with Treasury to see whether Treasury has the funds available to support this dream of yours, without agreeing with Matebula on what the cost of the work that you're sending him to do is going to be, and then you move, and then he starts work. And then while he's busy, while you're still waiting to know how much you're supposed to pay Matebula, you and Matebula agree to say, you know, I think you're doing great, but I need support of 4 other muscles. And these 4 other muscles are going to cost 10 million. Together we agree, and then, but we still don't know how much we're going to pay you. But continue, and then we'll see what we do with Godongwan. Do I understand that correctly?
There's a lot of things that are insinuations loaded in that statement of yours. But chronologically, based on the NSFAS Act, who appointed an administrator, we sought concurrence from the Minister of Finance, and then appointed, and then agreed with the administrator's request for the appointment of 4 additional advisors. That's where we're at. We're waiting for the confirmation from the Minister of Finance in terms of the administrator's remuneration.
Yeah, I think we must agree that I think I was covered earlier by what you, in your opening, you said there are gaps currently in the framework of administration. And these gaps currently, and we are saying it happens everywhere, that an institution is put under administration, and after that, the concurrence is then sought. So that is the point we must fix in the legislation now, so that it does not help us, or it helps us moving forward. I think you had answered it that way there in the beginning. I'm happy with it being answered, that we identify that in its current form, we do have a problem in the legislation or the framework that governs this thing of, because it happened at the construction city, where NLG CETA and services CETA, they were put under administration, and the process took almost 5 months for the department to finalize with yourself the payment or the conditions of employment of administrators. And it is happening now, already above 3 months. And so what I think will make a recommendation later on what we think we should do in the immediate to try and cover this thing of the framework. Honorable Msaza. Oh, Honorable Lowe had a follow-up. Yeah, so Raskis.
No, thanks, Chair. Chair, mine was on there was a report on 2021 on NSFAS of appointment of administrators, and the AGSA could have flagged that. I wanted to ask the Minister if he is aware of such. If not, can he read the report, and then I'll come and ask him a line of questioning. Thanks.
So you're saying he must read them now when you come?
Yeah, I don't want to take time given the time. He must go read the 2021 report on NSFAS on the administrators.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll come and ask a question after.
Honorable Msaza.
No, Honorable Law is right, Chair. We were just given a different presentation altogether by NSFAS. So I think the Minister can also read that report. Minister, I will try not to go back to the questions that have been asked but have not been responded to adequately. My first question to you, when you approved the appointment of those advisors, did you approve that they are hired as persons hired to be advisors, or did you approve them to be contracted to be service providers and render a service of advising the administrator?
Sorry, I didn't get the earlier part of the question.
Yeah, so did you approve the 4 advisors to come in at NSFAS to be advisors, therefore, which means they would be appointed and become employees? Okay? Or did you approve that they come in and be service providers that provide a service of advising the administrator, which would then mean they are appointed as consultants, if you may?
Okay. I wouldn't be involved in that, as to how are people appointed and so on. And I think that's what the administrator will have to
So,
respond
Minister,
to that.
you see, Minister, I've been listening to you answering questions, and from where I'm sitting, you really are evading questions, or rather, you don't want to respond. There is no way in which you came to Parliament to account on what is happening at NSFAS and you don't have answers, or you don't have documents to that effect. There's no way, because you came here to account, right? Now, firstly, you did not want to respond whether, when you approved the appointment of the administrator's advisors, you know if it was somewhere in the document how much they must be paid and the allowances thereof, which is obviously on section 17C. And obviously you say you don't remember. Okay. Now I'm asking you now, in the letter sent to you by the administrator to appoint these people, did he request that, can I appoint people to be my advisors as employees, or are they coming in as consultants whom will then have a contract to provide a service of advising him?
Oh,
So are they employees of NSFAS appointed as advisors, or they are service providers?
well, my response to him, it was not. Look, I mean, I think the operationalization of that whole decision. That's why I said it remains with the
No,
NSFAS
but Minister, this is not
No,
about
but
operations.
can I-
It's about what you approved.
No, so what I approved was the advisors.
To
and
be
that
what?
Those advisors
Be appointed as advisors or
should
service
be-
providers.
No, so can I respond? I approve the appointment of advisors, and that those advisors need to be appointed on the basis of prescribed policies, and what that means subsequently down the road is something else.
It's a matter of interpretation. Okay. So, Minister, you say 17C, which is a bone of contention. Your application of it, do you believe that it is legal or illegal of you to approve that the administrator appoints his 4 advisors without the approval of the Minister of Finance, and subsequently pay remuneration and allowances to them without this approval? Do you think your decision was lawful or legal?
Yes, I believe that the decisions taken in the appointment of the, in concurring with the with the appointment of the advisors, as far as I know, followed the law.
So it's legal. So the advice you say you got it from your legal department your legal unit of the department, the advice.
Well, they would have seen the documentation that ultimately.
You
came
said you
through
got
to me.
advice, Minister. Did you get advice from legal to say your application of this legislation is accurate, it's legal?
From the entire department.
So you don't get.
People who are responsible for this.
So do you have the
including legal.
advice in writing? Do you have advice in writing?
Do I have an advisor in IT?
Do you have advice as it relates to this in writing? The advice you say you got.
There's a submission that came through to me, which
It's in
constitutes
writing.
advice, yes.
It comes from the DG.
It comes from the department, obviously through the DG.
No, it's not obvious, and I'm asking you, Minister. So the submission
Okay. Yes.
to
yes.
advise you on the application of this
Yes.
legislation comes from the DG's office to say the application of this 17C is correct and 17B.
Yes.
Okay.
The submission which we received was that there's a proposal from the administrator. If my memory serves me well, there's this, and these are the people suggested, if I could recall, then we went ahead to concur with that request.
So, did you consult legal on the application of this act on the approval of these advisors, Minister?
Well, I would assume the DG would have included legal in the routing
So you don't know.
of the submission.
So you don't know, Minister.
Yeah, I think, Honorable Mseza, the minister is saying that he got briefed by the DG, and ordinarily he believes that the DG would have done that part. Now, to go and say he doesn't know whether legal or not, I don't think it's going to assist us, because he got a report from the Director General. I don't think that's going to help us. Honorable Lonzo, what's the order?
No, I just wanted to ask, Chair. So the reason why we specified the questions to the minister is because he is leaving. So I just want to double check that you'll still grant us permission to ask some of these questions to the advisor, to the administrator, because seemingly he's the one who sent these letters to the minister. So okay, I just wanted to confirm
Questions
that.
to the administration will be on their account.
Okay,
Yeah, not on what the minister would have done.
all right.
Yeah, Honorable Mseza.
Yeah, so, Chair, I don't have an issue with understanding what the minister meant, but I wanted to understand, because the minister has direct access to legal, and matters that he accounts for, he will still have to do due diligence, or at least satisfy himself in terms of what gets submitted to him. Hence, I wanted him to confirm if he consulted legal or not, because this is a legal matter, Minister. So did you consult legal or did you not consult legal? You just accepted the report or submission made to you by the DG, and then you went ahead to approve.
Look, I mean, I'll have to. The department is led by the DG. The department includes legal. It includes all sorts of expertise. And as I said, without the benefit of having sight of the submission that was brought before me, and as you rightly say, that this is also a legal issue, I would like to assume that legal was routed on all the matters.
Okay, Minister, my time is finished. So just last question, Chair, if you'll indulge me. I'll assume that you did not, well, not assume, I know that you did not consult legal, Minister. There is a serious issue of gap investigation that has resulted in many students being defunded. And would have stressed this as the committee last year, that this thing of defunding students in the middle of the year, we do not accept it, we reject it, because of a number of reasons which I will not get into. Did you sanction that the administration conducts this gap funding that has resulted in many students being defunded, and many already are being evicted or have been evicted from residences and institutions?
Gap funding.
Gap investigation.
He doesn't know, Chair.
Yes.
Minister, many students in South Africa have been defunded due to what is called gap investigation. which you should have sanctioned, because last year we had a similar issue, whereas the committee we stressed that all investigations that would obviously be as a result of any irregular funding or whatever the case may be that would have resulted in students being funded irregularly should be dealt with. However, we are against the fact that NSFAS makes mistakes, then defund students mid-year. These are thousands of students. So I'm asking if you sanctioned this large defunding of students through gap investigation.
Yeah. Look, firstly, there's not been any sanction of the defunding of students who legitimately deserve NSFAS funding. I think that's the first thing. The second thing is that we, and I think this relates to the overall challenges that NSFAS has itself been, been facing. We will not, I will not in any way encourage the defunding of any student in any of our institution, and I think it's something that we need to look at. DM?
Yeah, I just wanted to add something on this issue because it's an issue that I have been particularly concerned about, but it has to be understood correctly. The reason why there has been gap investigations and the subsequent defunding of students is because when NSFAS has done its intake of students at the beginning of the year, the admission of funding, it does so only on the basis of the means testing, the financial eligibility of the student, but it does not do the academic verification at the start of the year. And my advice would be that one would need to really ask the question as to what is the plan to ensure that one could get to a point where the academic verification is done right from the onset, so that both the means testing and both the financial eligibility and the academic eligibility test is done and assessed at the start of the academic year, and that the second half of the equation is not only done later on, which then produces this particular phenomenon.
Maybe just one additional point, being that and I think the NSFAS will speak more to this, that there was quite a number in terms of both TVET college students and university students who've been affected by this, and I think the report will show that those numbers have significantly declined, both in terms of TVET college students and university students in terms of the gap investigation cases. But as I said, I think that we really need to sort out not just the systemic issues, but I think the policy issues that affected students who are under this, under the gap investigation. Thank you.
Yeah, I think most of the questions, actually, NSFAS should be able to respond to these questions. Dr. Christians?